Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Wheels Off-Road here on the 13th of May, 2025, reflecting on the Scottish Six Days Trial. My name's Phil Haygarth.
I'm Mike Rapley.
And together we're going to spend the next, 30 minutes or so reflecting on the experiences of the fantastic week up in Scotland. The sun never stopped shining, pretty much. Now we're back in the north of England, Mike. We've travelled a few miles south, a little bit of time to reflect. And we thought it would be nice just to spend a little bit of time going over what we've seen and sort of reflecting on the results and whatever. The last time we saw you was Thursday. And of course, we all know the outcome now. The trial is concluded. But let's have a little bit. Did you have a great week, Mark? Did you enjoy it?
Fantastic week.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the best weeks I can remember for several different reasons. First of all, of course, the weather was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, how can you go to Scotland and have 9 days, because I was there for the pre-65 as well. How can you have 9 days of glorious sunshine?
Yeah.
Even got my nose burnt with, sunburn.
Yeah.
And just amazing weather-wise.
Yeah.
The trial itself, I thought, was very, very good. A great winner in Jack Peace, because he was second to Jack Price last year, and he held it together very well last year, and he held it together very well this year. To go round for just a loss of 4 marks was amazing.
Yeah.
All credit to Adam Raga for coming here and enjoying the trial, proving to be a very, very popular person.
Yeah.
And if he could have won, if he should have won, maybe if he had won, people would have been delighted with his result. And of course, third place, George Hemingway.
Oh, fantastic.
What a ride.
Yeah.
That has got to be one of the best rides ever in Scotland, and certainly the best ride for a first timer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think a first timer, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody will know, but I don't think a first timer has ever been as high as third place. I may well be wrong, but I'm not very good on facts and figures.
Was Harry third? Maybe not.
Yeah. No, he was. I think he was fourth.
Okay.
Well, perhaps he was third last year.
Yeah.
What was interesting is I did a bit of a survey on Sunday in the Park Ferme, and the first person I spoke to was Dan Hemingway, and I said to him, "Who do you think is going to win the trial this week? Not who you want to win the trial this week, who you think will win the trial this week." And he said, "George." I said, "George?" "Yes." I said,
Wow.
"Don't you mean Harry?" "No, George."
Wow.
He said, "I've been watching them, pair of them, for weeks, and George is absolutely determined to win the trial."
Wow. Yeah.
And I said, "Well, that's a surprise."
Yeah.
And I thought after the first day, when George was fairly well down the list, I thought, well, he's got that wrong. But of course, he just rode and rode and rode, and was stunningly brilliant.
Yeah.
Every time I saw him, he was stunningly brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, it's so commendable for a young man, you know, to have that presence of mind at that age, really, to pull it off, and the pressure that entails.
Yeah.
You know, it's just incredible.
I was at Gorton on Friday, and together with his brother Harry and Dan and Ben and other riders around them, and George was not involved in all the discussions with everybody else. He was just on his own, looking, deciding. He was not asking, he was not talking.
Yeah.
He was totally how he was going to do the section.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Amazing. I saw George on Saturday morning at Fastfern on the great big waterfall.
I've just seen it on a video this afternoon.
Yeah. And I would say that was probably the ride of the morning, actually. Fastfern is a really intimidating big waterfall. It's more than a step. It really, I would say, only probably 10% of the riders have a go at it this year. It was very tricky. And George was the ride of the day. I saw pretty much everybody go up it. I saw Dougie Lampkin, I saw Adam Raga, I saw everybody have a go, but the tidiest, cleanest, attempt was George. It was fantastic.
It was, yeah. If you get the chance to see it on a video, I'm not sure who filmed it, but it's a fantastic ride.
Well, we filmed it. It's on this channel. Go to Fast Fern on Saturday morning. It's all there. George is in there. All the Hemingways, Adam, everyone's filmed there going up Fast Fern. It was fantastic to watch. It was riveting finale. Yeah. Anybody else to reflect on, Mike?
Well, loads of people to reflect on. I was very pleased to see Billy Green finish 4th on 17 marks. That was after his absolute disaster last year.
Yeah.
When he was so far down after the first day, although he did recover very well. And in fact, I think somebody said to me that if you discounted Billy Green's first day last year, his ride for the remaining 5 days would have won in the trial if it was a 5-day trial. Starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I think he was top two or three, wasn't he, as well? I think Billy's one of those riders that he's nearly there. He could grab it one year if he just got it right, really. If he settled those early days, really. But it'd be great to see that. But yeah, well done, Billy.
Of course, Jack Dance, who's a rider from down south. That was another very, very good ride. 6th place, 17 marks. And particular credit goes to Harry Turner for his 7th place, 18 marks lost. Now then, those 18 marks include a 5 for not being able to start on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. Can't remember which one.
Right.
Take those 5 marks away for not starting, and it would have put him in 4th place on 13.
Right, yeah.
Harry Turner, a young lad who's still studying and doing trial 2.
Yeah.
He went to trial 125 when he was underage compared to the other riders, and is progressing very, very steadily to be an excellent rider.
Yeah.
And I'm sure quite a lot of people know his school teacher, Margaret Carter. She was at the trial. She was observing at the pre-65, and she's a trials rider herself, and obviously a very keen follower of Harry, and arguably has put a lot of work into ensuring that he completes his studies whilst he's travelling Europe to do World Championship stuff.
Yeah, well, great story. Yeah, well done, Harry. That's brilliant. With your school teacher watching on as well.
Yeah. What about Jamie Galloway? That shows my age when I went to say Jack Galloway from from 45 years ago. Yeah, Jamie Galloway, best Scottish rider. That's a really good result, and great lad, and tremendous ride.
Yeah, fantastic.
Best lady, as expected, was Emma Bristow.
Fantastic.
In 47th place. I think there were 4 ladies taking part.
Yeah, probably not as many as previous years, actually, which is a shame. Yeah.
She was well ahead of Alice Minter.
Yeah.
And Alicia Robinson was there, as was
Chloe Richardson as well.
Chloe Richardson, that's 4.
Yeah.
And there was some Australian lass and also an Italian lass, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So there were 6 taking part.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, all 6 finished.
Yeah, we just need to get. It'd be great to see more women in the sport. But
it's hard trial for a girl, isn't it? For a lady.
Yeah, we just need to encourage them. There's strong people out there. That can
yes, there is. But they all put a big effort into it. They're not intimidated by it.
Yeah.
But it's a tough week. There's no doubt about it. Really good though. So where do we go from there?
So I have to raise it, Mike. There's the kind of the unspoken thing is that there's a little bit of unfortunate controversy on the social media, which we perhaps should mention.
I thought you were going to say this.
Yeah.
You were going to ask me this.
I mean,
I spent a lot of time thinking about it, And
perhaps we should just explain for those who don't know, there was a little bit of a let's call it observation controversy with Adam Raga on one of the sections on Friday, and
at chairlift.
Yeah, and there's been some posts and discussion about that, and it could have affected the outcome depending on what the observer decided. And I'm not saying anything. I'm just explaining what the situation is. What do you? We must comment. There must be something to say there. It's so unfortunate because it was so great to have Adam there, and
Yeah. Let me tackle it from a different angle, if I may. I've read all the social comments about it. There's keyboard warriors making absolutely ridiculous marks and, to a certain extent, unpleasant remarks. The fact of the matter is that, as far as I wasn't there, so I can't make a personal comment, but it would appear that Adam Raga rode over the edge of a section marking card, and the observer awarded him a 5-mark penalty. Those are the facts I don't think are disputed. Let me start from the other direction. Anybody that takes upon the responsibility of observing in the Scottish 6 Days trial could well put themselves in a position where they become the goody or the baddie. That I believe to be a fact of life in the trial, which is such a high stakes event.
Yeah.
Making absolutely no comment whether the decision was right or wrong, but I do feel that if you accept the responsibility to be an observer in the Scottish, then you observe the trial to the best of your ability as you see it. However, I also think that there is a responsibility to think about any decision that you make and how it might affect the future of the event. Now, I'm not saying that Adam Raga won't return to the Scottish.
I hope he does.
I hope he does. Equally, I'm not saying that he will return to the trial. The two sides are that when he returns, well, when he has returned to Spain, I guess, when he goes back to Spain, back to home, his compatriots that he rides with, he may well say that he feels hard done by and received a penalty that he considers was unwarranted. He may well say to his fellow riders, don't return to or don't go to Scotland because there's a chance you won't receive a fair decision. Those responsibilities are in the hands of all the observers in the trial. And I feel that any observer who takes on the responsibility for observing in the trial, possibly as a secondary consideration, needs to take this into account. The observer, I believe, in my own mind, made what he considers to be the correct decision and wasn't persuaded to change it.
I don't think there was any prejudice there.
Don't think there was any prejudice at all.
No.
And I've said what I believe to be as a reasonable comment, and I would choose to leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, do you think that's a fair assumption?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I mean, just to explain to those, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, and all I can see is, the stuff that's bobbing around on social media. But, just the other bit of information that seems to be out there, that on the face of it, Adam ran over the flag, which on the face of it is correct. There is an issue about whether the flag had moved or it had fallen over or it had moved, and that just makes it more, let's just say that makes it more complicated. and it had toppled over or moved its position.
The positioning in Scotland, the section defining cards are quite literally A4, coloured A4 cards.
Yeah.
And that's what it's always been for many, many years. They were at one time stars, a red star and a blue star, one on the red on the right, blue on the left, and now they're just A4 corrugated cardboard, corrugated plastic cards. The problem with using those cards is, and particularly as the Scottish is primarily a rocky trial, is placing them satisfactorily. And the method is usually fold them a third, a rock on the bottom third, a rock behind the top third of the card, and that props it up. That's all well and good until somebody clips the rock holding it, or the rock on which the card is balanced is disturbed, and the card goes flying.
Say the previous rider, just saying.
Yeah. There was a situation at Mealnameach on
Thursday,
where the rock had been the section marking card on the first section, near the end of the section, had been placed on a large grey squarish boulder. It had been placed on the top of the boulder, which had a flat top to it, using two rocks as a support. Riders were coming up the side of that rock, not touching it, but they were disturbing the shingle, small rocks, on which the big rock with the card on top was, I'll say balanced, but it was disturbing the shingle, was making the rock move until it get to a point where the card falls off. So I think I'm correct in saying the observer was not giving any fives for the card falling off, because they weren't hitting the rock, they weren't hitting the card. And then the most ridiculous thing of all is that they placed one of the spare observers, because there's more than one at each section, one of the spare observers to go and monitor this rock and replace the card every time it was disturbed. And then it reached a point where the big grey rock moved completely and rolled down the section, so they had nowhere to put this card. So he just put it on the bed of the burn at the side, supported it with a couple of smaller rocks, and walked away and left it. No problem. But it was not the only bad placing of a card that I saw during the week.
I mean, big picture. Thanks, Mike. I mean, big picture is.
I'm being boring, aren't I?
No, big picture is. I think we just got to move on from this. Is well done, Adam. And well done, Jack, and well done everybody, really, and well done observers. It's just a complicated situation. It's unfortunate, and I, for one, really hope that Adam comes back and
brings a load of his mates.
Yeah, that's what we need. I just think it's unfortunate, really.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate for everybody. And thanks to everybody for all that they do to get it to that position. So
And these issues aside, what a wonderfully well organised event!
Oh, just fantastic!
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
All the intricacies of putting the event on, having teams of lads going out the day before, marking out the sections, route marking across the fells. They do a huge amount of work.
Hundreds of miles of marking have gone on that. Incredible, absolutely incredible.
And the administration of the event as a whole, right down from accepting, issuing regulations and entry forms, and taking entries, and then deciding who can ride, and it's just a nightmare of a job. Not one I would want.
And absolute full credit to Kirsten and the team and everybody, the organisers do such a great job. Clerk of the course and everybody, what a job! All the observers, thank you for all that you've done to really provide such a great event.
There's a huge number of observers, because whilst there's 28 sections a day, you need a lot more than 28 observers, and in fact, probably somewhere in the region of a minimum of 3 observers per section, because they're long days.
Yeah, yeah.
Generally speaking, observers at a section are out there for a minimum of 6 hours.
Yeah, sure.
So to expect one observer to keep the concentration for that length of time is be a bit ambitious, really.
Right. What else we want to say? We've got about 10 minutes left. What else do you want to cover?
Once you get down from the top guys, you have to look further down the results list. I was really impressed that of 288 starters, 273 finished.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's a credit to the exceedingly good weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moors were probably as dry as I've ever known them, or the trial has ever known them. And to have a retirement rate of just 15 riders, and presumably not all of they wouldn't all have been because they were exhausted or injured. There would be some bike problems there as well. I'm not really familiar with why the 15 retired, but I think a finishing rate of 273 is absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, a shout out to, to, if you like, some of the club riders, the clubman riders, that if you like struggled through. One of my friends, Craig Eaton, finished, a local boy from near Fort William, I understand. I was following him. I caught up with him a couple of times. It was just a delight to see him. I think he finished in the bottom few percent, but he finished. What a fantastic achievement, Craig, to get round that event for an ordinary club rider. I noticed that Danny Butler put on his reflection that this is no club trial. It is no club trial for a clubman rider. No. And he was, I think, reflecting on what a challenge it had been. And he's a very capable rider.
Yeah, very capable rider. Yeah. I observed him at a Manchester 17 trial back in January.
Yeah.
And obviously a talented rider, particularly from a I won't say trick riding, but a skill set of balancing and going up stuff. And he found it a hard week. There's no two ways about it. He did. Just looking at the result, I don't know exactly where he was, but he had a hard week. But then so did plenty of others.
Lots of people. I'm just really shouting out to all the people. The people much better than me, but kind of I can feel for really. The kind of also rans, the not particularly strong riders that are having a go. I mean, they're much stronger than I am. Just so well done to all those people that are hanging in there to get round. I could see people struggling and suffering, and bathing cold, tired legs in the evening and stuff.
Yeah. I had a particularly entertaining session, really. I don't often talk about myself in these situations, but it was on Thursday. I was on my 66-year-old 350 HAS riding around all week. Got back to the Coram Ferry on Thursday night and went on the ferry together with about 35 other trials riders. I would say other trials riders because I wasn't riding. About 35 trials riders, and I was right at the front of the ferry, ready to be amongst the first off when the ramp goes down, and you have to stop your engines when the ferry's going. So about 50 yards out from docking, I'm thinking better get this AJS started. So switch the ignition on, tickle the carburetor, kick it over, kick, no go. Kick, no go. Ferry's getting nearer to dock, isn't it? We're only 30 yards from the ramp going down. Kick, still no life out of it. Switch the ignition off, turn it on again, tickle it a bit more, kick, still, crikey. And I'm thinking, 30 trials riders behind me, they're going to flatten me if I don't get off here. And just as the ramp was going to go down, one last go, I think, start it properly, ignition on, tickle it, turn it over on the top dead centre, just move the kickstart lever down a smidgen, let it return to the top, and one decent stroke, vroom, off it goes. And what happened? I got the biggest cheer from 30 riders, thinking, silly old Rappers has got this bike going at long last. Made my week.
Yeah, fantastic. Do you want to just briefly touch on, probably not doing it justice, do you briefly just want to mention the Pre-65?
Yeah.
I mean,
great.
It reminded me, as a bit means of a link. I started the Pre-65, I didn't finish, and it reminds me of my problem because my kickstart ratchet was going on the morning of the trial, and I was on the start ramp in Kinlochleven, and I remember thinking, will it start? When I had the same kind of feeling, and I managed to get the ratchet to bite when I was on the start ramp, and as I progressed through the morning, it failed and failed and failed. But that's my story. But the Pre-65, what a great festival that is.
Yeah, it is. It's a totally different event to the main 6 days. One on a clean sheet by Jimmy Noble, with Gary McDonald also on a clean sheet. Jimmy getting the win or the decision because he's older than Gary, and also was on an older bike. 2 quite hard days, really. There's 2 quite hard days. Lots of videos out there, and you can see the sections all very, very rideable. But the riders have a tiring 2 days. Not only the dreaded going over Callart and down the hill the other side back to the main road, which is a real chew, no doubt about that at all, and going across, well, I call it Rannoch Moor, but I suppose it's anyway from the dam above Pipeline over to the old military road, winding along the narrow tracks. By the lock. Arduous 2 days. Unfortunately, quite a lot of retirements. Of the 200 starters, there was 32 retirements. So it's not an easy trial, not by any means.
Yeah, and that might be rider, that might be machine.
Yeah, but I suppose.
Yeah,
I think you have to give credit to, particularly to 7-time TT winner Mick Grant for being the oldest finisher.
Wow, fantastic!
But 80 years old,
in his 9th decade.
Yeah, I think he's 80.
Yeah,
he's
total inspiration, if you ask me.
Well, exactly. Yeah, total inspiration. Very much part of the lads, and his trialing he's as dedicated as he was as a road racer.
Yeah.
So, best lady in the trial, I don't think there was anybody. There might have been a couple of others. Donna Fox, who had a very good ride to be 28th on 15 marks lost. And special first class awards for the first 23 placings, and then down to 43rd for first class awards, and then all finishers get a finishers award after that. Yeah, a great trial,
and really well organised, as you know. Again, really,
but a totally different team from the main trial.
Yeah.
And it also seems to attract, from a spectator's point of view, a totally different group of people from the main trial. Obviously, some lots overlap, as I do.
Yeah.
But a very nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
Well, nice atmosphere for the whole. Yeah. For the whole 9 days, it was up there.
Kinlochleven, which is the venue for the trial, which is just a few miles down the road from Fort William, a smaller town at the head of the valley. It's like an amphitheatre, really, at the top of the loch. Really, it's got a feeling to it as you're there in the valley. The piper starts the trial off. It's a small town or a large village surrounded by big mountains and the Loch Leven. It's just beautiful. It's a real atmosphere, and I really recommend you go and have a look at that. And of course, it's preceded by the Moidart Run, which is a classic bike road run which goes before that. So there's kind of lots of old bikes around, and people are arriving for the 6 days trial. There's a real sense of anticipation and excitement in the valley.
Yeah, it's a great week, and I've already booked for next year.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I think I'm going to do that too. So just before we wrap it up, just wanted to say well, thank you to you, Mike, for all that you've done in doing this with me. It's been great fun learning to do this together. It's a real privilege to have such an experienced trials journalist to do this with me, and all your wisdom, and I know everybody really appreciates that. So
nice of you to say so.
Thank you, Mike. Also, just a comments from me really to everyone for tuning in and watching. I'm still learning. Mike's just given me a bit of feedback prior to going on there tonight. I'm still learning. I've got two main cameras I use, and another one. I'm still trying to sort out the wobble. I apologise for that. I'm still learning my technique, as it were, and I'm trying to improve it. I'm going to try and make it better and learn from what we've done this year. It was the first time filmed the whole of the 6 days this year. There's some great colleagues who also put videos out there. Trials Mania does some. I think that's Carl. Well done to Carl. You do a great job. Also, Finn Yeaman deserves a shout out. So it's not just me, but just to comment on the others. I just wanted to say that quite an amusing story. One of the challenges for me, for a video blogger in Scotland, is actually getting the video off the GoPro, getting it onto the internet, getting it off the camera, and getting it out there on the day. So it doesn't all stop when you stop filming. You've got to get the SD card out. You've got to get it onto the and get it onto the internet. And the challenge is finding good internet or a good connection. You can either use the data signal, or you can use Wi-Fi. And well, to cut a long story short, in the process of trying to get good Wi-Fi, without going into details, I lost my phone, and I'm awaiting the delivery of a new phone at the moment. So that's the pain that you go through in trying to get a Wi-Fi signal to do that. But there you go.
What Phil hasn't explained is exactly how you lost your phone.
Yeah,
which is different to just losing it.
Well, I
think it needs a description.
I was in a place, a place which I will not specify, trying to get the best signal. I was walking around the location trying to get a best signal, and I found this location on top of a pipe, and I thought, oh, that's it. That's that. I thought it was capped. This pipe, it wasn't capped. The pipe was a great big hole, 10 feet down. My phone went down. I know exactly where my phone is, but me and a few others have tried to retrieve it, and it's had to be written off. It will be found by, let's say, by builders or archaeologists in years to come, and perhaps that's the best place for it now. Anyway, thanks again, Mike. Thanks again, everybody. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. You're going off on a holiday now, so I'm very jealous. That's got further the life of a retired
journalist. Yeah,
motorcyclist.
Off to France in the morning for a classic bike rally.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Back home for 2 or 3 days. Then sidecar motocross at Swindon,
right?
Grand Prix. Yeah. Back home for a few days. Then 9 days at the TT marshalling.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah, living the dream. Well, thanks very much, and again, thanks to everybody for watching. This is Two Wheels Off-Road. I'm Phil Haygarth. This is Mike Rapley. Life is too short not to watch Two Wheels Off-Road. Thanks very much, all of you, for tuning in, and we'll see you again next year.
Don't forget to subscribe, and a Brew with a View hasn't gone away yet.
Yeah, it was Vimto with a View.
Oh, yeah, but we'll be back.
Cheers, Mike. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.